Hey, it's Key Creator Studio, Master Drawing Japan. Making a point to draw every day. Um, I don't have much paper left in here. Well, I will do my best. Um, I wanted to just do some cartoon drawings to show you how to draw some animated cartoon characters. Not anyone in particular, but but the basic general model that we know from the 20th century, in terms of the high point of animation at that time. Um, I was playing. I don't know if you can see that I drew these very light, but these are some little doodles that are quasi Chuck Jones inspired drawings. But if you guys, if you ever wanted to like draw some of your classic animated characters, it's really not that difficult. And some of the characters that we have today, I'm not saying anything bad about them, but they are a lot more abstract shaped that I think that we had before, and that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But usually, I see, usually this kind of shape for characters these days. It's usually like a box, and like two legs, put on it, and this could be. This could be any character, I mean, this could be, it could be SpongeBob, which I've never watched in my life, but but apparently it has appeal. This could be, what is it? Adventure Time, another show I've never watched before. Nothing against these shows, but I yeah, I guess I'm an old fogey or whatever. But there's nothing wrong with these kinds of designs, because basically all cartoon designs are very geometric, and the important thing is that that they can be recognized and like readable very easily. Some of these drawings here, like this one, is kind of like a typical thing, that we would see, in, I don't know, in like a Warner Brothers, cartoon, or shoot, in any of those studios. If it's like a bear or something like that, they would all generally have like this kind of design, and it was very functional, because the characters were easily readable, and they definitely had a sense of appeal to them. So it's nothing wrong with that. So this might be a little bit more representational than something like this, So look, when it comes down to drawing cartoon characters, right? In the old days, from what I heard, like Mickey Mouse was something like this. Basically it was like a dumbbell, and a circle here, and then they put like two legs on it like that, and they would put ears like this. Maybe not even this well designed actually, and two eyes like that. Yeah, because and of course the hands, you know, this kind of thing. All right, so now, Actually, the irony is, I think the way they're doing Mickey Mouse these days, it kind of looks a lot more like this. They're kind of going back, um, to the old days, really. But so even though this has its kind of appeal, um, well, it could be read as being maybe a little bit too abstract, and sometimes even like looking kind of kind of like maybe like primitive or something like that. So I'm sure you've all heard the story, about Fred Moore, who like redesigned Mickey, and instead of like using like this barbell kind of shape, he kind of made this bean kind of shape. And this bean shape is nothing new in terms of art. This bean has been used many times in art instruction throughout the years, and it doesn't necessarily think of it as a bean, but basically we have two volumes, right? We have like the volume for the rib cage, and then we have like the volume, for the pelvis area. Some people will represent it like a bean. Some people will represent it as two boxes, right? Some people will even they'll even describe it as something mixed between the two, right? But essentially, when you draw these characters, essentially, they're gonna have this kind of shape. All the characters did, whether it was Mickey Mouse or Tom and Jerry. They all basically did. Actually, I have to admit, maybe like around the 50s or so, like with UPA animation, things did get a little bit abstract, and they did kind of like start using like geometric shapes like this, to be honest. And maybe that's kind of where we are now. So maybe we'll go back, to some more representational stuff. But so a couple of things that people do when they design these characters. Now, instead of, I do this all the time. Like I'll just do like some generic character like this. Again, it could be anything. It could be any kind of character. It could be it need not be a mouse. It can be it could be a cat or something like that, right? But basically, you have like this body, and okay, large eyes here, and now some people like to make the eyes like kind of like to make them cross-eyed like that, which it's okay, but I don't, because it does give like a point of focus in a way, right? But you overuse that, it might start to look a little bit funny, actually. All right, so you see, like, I have like this volume for the mouth and the volume for the head, and then oh god, this is so corny, but essentially, this is what we saw, throughout the majority of the 20th century, when it came time to to have these characters, in movies or in TV commercials, or cartoons or whatever, right? All right, so now here's my my generic my generic cat, okay, and even though this can work, right? There's some things that they would do to make it seem a little bit more alive. One of the things, you know, that they would do is, instead of always having them stand like straight up like that, actually what they would do is I'll do another one right here, right next to it. So instead of having them like stand like that all the time, what they'll do is, you know, they'll have them like standing in this kind of like semi-crouching position. And for some reason, that kind of like loosened it up a little bit. It kind of made the characters seem as if they were moving, you know, a little bit more. Again, I'll make it another cat. Also, you know, another thing, actually, you know, if you are gonna like do cartoon characters, it might be a good idea, like, not always like have everyone like looking off to the side exactly like that, because that gets a little bit boring. So because everything is very even though it is kind of, you know, cute or whatever, the problem is that everything is in the same direction. So, you know, what makes things seem a little bit more real is loosening things up and like offsetting things, so things don't seem so even. So instead of like having both legs like that, you know, I can have one leg like that. Okay, fine. His hand is on his hip. That's fine. Okay, we can do that. But, you know, the other hand, you know, maybe, you know, have it down. Have it down like that. And, you know, and then we can still have, you know, our cute face. It's kind of characters you'd see like in I don't know, cereal commercials and stuff like that. And even though you know these ears are a little bit offset, it does make it feel a little bit more animated, I guess. In a way. Actually, no, I'm gonna okay, so we have some, you know, some funny cat here. Okay, so this has a, you know, a little bit more life, shall we say, than this one. You know, this is actually a guy he's like in the middle of expressing something, right? That's just, you know, generic cuteness, you know, and nothing wrong with that, you know, but but basically, you know, when we draw, you know, we want to we want to say something, you know, that will leave an impact, you know, with our audience, right? People watching it. Okay. All right. That's the basic idea. So, a few more things in terms of, like, you know, designing these characters, right? So this bean that I was talking about, you know, we can use this for any kind of character. I know, and we can like change the shape a little bit, right? Like this is a little bit even, but if I did like a large volume and then, sorry, a small volume, and then I did a really big volume here, like that, and then if I made the feet kind of small or short, like that, this kind of gives a feeling that, you know, we have like a, you know, a larger character here, right? So make the head a little bit smaller, make him seem a little bit bigger, you know, than he actually is. You know, again, I want to turn the head over this way. So I don't know, you know, this can be a dog, you know, but maybe a dog, you know, that's kind of like Shaggy or something like that. So we can't really like see his face so well. Something like that. And his ears. Actually, this looks like the one of the dogs from Chuck Jones, like the sheepdog. He kind of looked a lot like this, actually. And I'll give him a little bit different ears, though. Oh, actually, almost the same kind of ears. Okay, so, you know, so we got that, all right, that kind of character. So again, all I did was, like, you know, I started like with like a bean or like a flour sack, you know, sort of thing, right? You know, if it's gonna be another kind of character, you know, like let's say a I don't know. Well, actually, you know, the funny thing is, like, you know, when it comes to like you know, drawing characters, right? You know, Chuck Jones said something I thought was really it's always like stuck with me, which is like, you know, see, when they draw animals, you know, they try to draw animals, you know, that have like personalities like people. And then like when they draw people, they try to draw them as if like they were animals. So that's something that's always That's always like stuck with me. Okay, I don't know. I'm gonna make. I guess I'll make this another cat, I guess. But I'll make a cat with smaller ears. Okay, but bigger eyes. But gotta make the nose big. This sort of thing. Okay. I guess I'm gonna make him. I was gonna put his arm over this way, but actually, what I'm gonna do, make him feel like he's like surprised or something like that. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I'm just making this up as I go along. You know, and like when you draw, you know, don't worry about like trying to make things so perfect. You know, it's better if you allow your drawings to be a little bit more free going, you know. You know, that way, you know, we can like zero in and, you know, make it clearer, you know, as we're going along. You know, you don't want to make your lines like too heavy, like right off the bat. You know, that can really like lock you in unnecessarily, you know, too quickly, and like not give you any sort of where place to go, you know. So okay, so look, you know, so you know how to draw like maybe like a, you know, a character, but how do you get them to like show emotion? What it might be a good idea to do is, like, you know, when you're drawing these characters, ask yourself, like, how is the character feeling? What is the character thinking, right? You know, if you put thought into it and actually like think of like actual like adjectives to attach to them, you know, like for example, you know, words like well, this would be like fear, right? So, you know, actually like write down the word as an exercise, like write down fear, and then like how would you draw that, right? You know, this would not say fear, this doesn't say fear, right? Maybe this one a little bit, right? So, you know, it's going to be actions, you know, that are going to be, you know, not so relaxed and maybe like pulling away from something, you know. So, you know, we're going to get, you know, yeah, you know, things like this, you know, again, you know, someone like, you know, trying to pull away from something, you know, not trying to get close to it, you know, right? And, you know, obviously, you know, they're going to you know, do things with, you know, with their hands, you know, that might, you know, that might show surprise, or like, you know, or like a need to like wanted to like to protect itself, right? If you know, if you write something like let's say I don't know, well, this is kind of like relaxed, right? So, you know, relaxed, right? Long lines, you know, not worried so much. Actually, maybe even like lay back a little bit. Um, not stressed. Actually, you know, maybe this foot might be coming out even more. All right. Completely chill. So it's not so much like the face, you know, that really conveys like the feeling of being relaxed, but it's more so the gesture is what you know what conveys it. The face, you know, that's just, you know, that's just extra, actually, you know. So anyway, when it comes down to, like, you know, like drawing these characters, you know, don't make a big deal about it, you know. And it doesn't matter like where you start. You know, people say like, you know, do you draw the head first, you draw the body first? It really doesn't matter. You have to like to see like the entire gesture all at once first, right? So, you know, again, if I wanted to draw someone maybe in a kind of like accusatory kind of position, right? I started with the head, and then I brought the body down like that. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, I could have done it. I could have did the same thing, starting with the body, actually. Okay. There's a hand here, and then something like that. Okay. I'm just making those up as I go along, actually. So again, like, even though I'm doing something, you know, cute with the face, it's really the gesture is what does it. Some funny cat. This sort of thing, yeah. Put them in a wife beater. Some pants or something like that. So, you know, not every drawing is, I'm sorry, not every line is going to be perfect. But I want to have enough information here, you know, that the general gesture is conveyed clearly, right? But you know what? No, that's fine. I don't know why this reminds me of something I would see like in a Ralph Bakshi cartoon. You know, he would do these characters that had all the trimmings of traditional animated characters we know, but they always have like some sort of urban feel to them. They always look a little dirty in a way. So okay, all right. I think I'm gonna stop there. So these are just some very generic characters, but look, when it comes time, you want to draw these characters, always remember, look, just start with 2 volumes, which is chest and the pelvis, and then you can modify that any way you want. You can make this big, make this one small, make this one big, or you can make this one big, that one small. Doesn't matter. In terms of what you need to do to design it. Add the legs down here like that. And then like you have your head. Your head is here. Okay. Again, it might be a good idea like to make the head a little bit bigger. Actually, maybe make the feet a little bit smaller. If you are, trying to do, animated characters. Right. And yeah, and also like I said, maybe sometimes, bending the legs out like that sometimes. That helps like loosen it up, and so it doesn't seem so so stiff all the time, So actually, put this down here like that. So okay, all right. I'm gonna stop here, and I will see you guys next time. All right, bye bye.